Honestly, it's the most diverse format I've ever seen. It's really skill intensive. You just see so much more interactions that you don't normally see in a typical game of Standard, especially Modern. That's just a race. And I just absolutely love the diversity and the fact that you can really play anything and take it far. I'm Joseph Santonassino, playing Metalworker here at Grand Prix Columbus 2016. Metalworker aims to drop giant robots as fast as possible while still having a prison element to hold them off while you're beating their face. A long time ago, I saw Star City Games coverage just drop giant robots into play, and at the time I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And a mix of Magic in between. And when they were saying, are we playing Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! Because the crazy numbers that were thrown in, I got inspired. My dad, for all my past, has just shown me giant robot stuff, and this has a really close connection to me. He's really important to me. The mana base is actually the 12-post variant. It's actually able to drop multiple copies of Cloudpost mixed with Glimmerpost and Vesuva to actually get large amount of mana really fast. Normally I would be playing Cavern Souls, but this deck I actually threw in a couple Thought-Knot Seer and have been using Darksteel Citadel in there because it makes up for the number of artifacts for interaction with Metalworker and Kuldotha Forgemaster. And also, it kind of protects against a large number of Death and Taxes and lands players that this deck has a really hard time with lands, not so much Death and Taxes, so it was a good time. Soul lands are really good. City of Traitors and Ancient Tomb really help push out some really nasty things when I shouldn't really early. And I run 3 Wastelands just because one Wasteland, especially fighting through Trinisphere, they really can't do much and you're just getting free turns being able to do what you want with Giant Robots interface. For my creatures, I start off with Metalworkers. He's just the all-star staple of the deck, goes absolutely crazy. 4 copies of Lodestone Golem. They are really good, and 2 Thought-Knot Seers. In the main, they're really good. I have a 3rd one on the board. They come out if they need to. 4 Kuldotha Forgemasters. They absolutely tinker up. It's a legal tinker that shouldn't be able to exist, but if you're able to get off with some of your lands fast enough, it ends matches. 3 Wurmcoil Engines. I have a 4th on the board. Same situation with Thought-Knot Seer. 1 Sundering Titan. That's actually like my favorite card in the game. If you're able to target it when it enters the battlefield, it actually can target multiple dual lands, which destroys an opponent's entire mana base, and if they're fighting through any kind of prison point at that point, they won't be able to play and it repeats. Platinum Angel I have. It's really good and it saves you in those situations when you just shouldn't be winning, but since it's flying rather than Platinum and Parry-On, it's an 8-drop as opposed to a 7-drop, easier to cast. 4-drop, dodges Bolt, and it'll fly up in the air and be able to steal some games from you. And a single Blightsteel Colossus, which comes out with a Forgemaster or a Metalworker really early, and because of Swords of Plowshares, you want to be able to throw it down and just constantly attacking at that point on, because they really can't do anything against it. So I run only 3 Trinisphere in the main board. The 4th one comes in from the board for a variety of decks, especially like Storm decks. Also run a playset of Chalice of the Void, playing it before it was cool. Run a single copy of Staff of Domination. 2 Ugin Spirit Dragon. Those actually break a few matches wide open, and when people are just expecting you to play giant robots, they kind of just get eaten when you minus their board. I'm playing a really nice tech this weekend. It's called Voltaic Key. It's a classic card. A lot of people know about it. It's one of those dirtily cards you throw away after a draft. You untap a artifact with it just for 1. With it on a turn 1 soul land into a Girm Monolith, you can turn 1 a Thought-Knot Seer, you can fight through your Chalices or any kind of daze, because people don't counter the Girm Monolith, they actually counter what you play with it, and with all the extra mana, you can get free Metalworker turn 1, or you go really early with even a Lodestone Golem, and they're always on the back foot. In my sideboard, I have 3 copies of Mindbreak Trap. They're really good, and they help you don't get your pants caught down against Storm. Even though you do have a lot of disruption against Storm already and a lockout, it's nice to have that safety net. 3 Faerie Macabre. It's one of those cards, once again, you don't want to get caught with your pants down. I have another Ugin, just in case, against Miracles or any just long, drawn-out matchup. Steel Hellkite is essentially my second copy of Ratchet Bomb that I have a single copy of. It really helps out against Death and Taxes or any kind of permanent-based deck. Spine of Ish Sah, it's a really nice tech that you can rob it from the board, well, from the deck with a Forgemaster. Duplicant, just in case, if the eventual show and tell comes up. If anybody comes up, either you can play Duplicant from your hand when they show and tell and eat their big creature. I have a Wurmcoil Engine and Thought-Knot Seer, and I run Staff of Nin. A lot of people go with a Cohesive Portal from Conspiracy. But if you're not worrying about your lands, I say might as well pay 2 more, be able to ping them on a clock and draw cards. Anytime I see a burn deck, I kind of get a little giddy. Just it's one of those decks that just auto loses to Chalice. Other than that, I would maybe say a Rug Delver. It's really good, or any small to the ground Delver deck, because Chalice really eats them up. And a mix of Wasteland and Trinisphere. Once you drop at least one big fatty into play, you can just hold them off from even getting any turns. Any deck or aggro, loam, anything that constantly is attacking your land base, you tend to cry. You don't have to worry about your lands being attacked as much in Rug Delver just because you don't have lands to be stifled. But by far, it's easily lands. A lot of people actually think that Mud and Metalworker are the same. It's kind of been, joke intended, muddied up over time. But Mud plays very much like a stacks deck, but it's a hybrid of Metalworker is just trying to go stompy, and Mud is kind of controlling, putting them out, or beat down as you need. I've made so many memories playing with this deck. You just have some amazing situations of Magic that you would never expect, because the creatures are way out of touch with what's normally being played. The more you study this deck, the more you can actually do some really crazy interactions that you wouldn't even think about. It's rogue, it's cool, and I have a really close spiritual bond to it.